Welcome to Royal Insights, where we explore the stories, traditions, and fascinating details behind royal families and dynasties from around the world. Join us as we uncover the history, culture, and curiosities that connect crowns across continents. Does the British royal family have German roots? London, Buckingham Palace. The Union Jack flutters above the royal residence. Tourists gather at the gates, and the image is unmistakably British. The British monarchy feels as English as afternoon tea, red telephone boxes, and rainy weather. But what if I told you that, for much of its history, Britain's royal family was not English at all? What if the story of the British monarchy leads us across the North Sea, deep into Germany? And what if the kings and queens of Britain were part of a giant family network stretching across nearly every royal court in Europe? This is the story of how German princes came to rule Britain and how Europe's royal families became one enormous family tree. The year is 1714. Britain faces a crisis. Queen Anne, the last monarch of the House of Stuart, is dying. She has no surviving children. Without an heir, the kingdom risks political chaos. There are dozens of relatives who could potentially claim the throne. Some are closer by blood than others. But there is one major problem. Many of them are Catholic, and Britain, after years of religious conflict, is determined to remain Protestant. So Parliament makes an extraordinary decision. It began searching across Europe for the nearest Protestant heir. The search eventually lands more than 700 kilometers away from London, in northern Germany, in a small state called Hanover. There lives a woman named Sophia of Hanover. She is granddaughter of King James I of England, not the closest relative by blood, but the closest Protestant relative. Parliament declares that Sophia and her descendants will inherit the British crown, but fate intervenes. Sophia dies only weeks before Queen Anne, and so, when Anne dies in August 1714, the throne passes to Sophia's son, a German prince, a man who speaks very little English, a man who has spent most of his life in Hanover. A man who becomes King George I of Great Britain. The House of Hanover has arrived. Imagine being a British nobleman in 1714. A new king arrives from Germany. He barely speaks your language. His closest advisors are German. His interests remain deeply connected to Hanover. Many Britons are suspicious. Some even mock him. But George I is only the beginning. After him comes George II, then George III, then George IV, then William IV. And finally, Queen Victoria. For more than a century, Britain is ruled by the House of Hanover, a German dynasty. The irony is remarkable. At the very moment Britain is becoming a global empire, the royal family is German. Yet, over time, something fascinating happens. The Hanoverian monarchs become increasingly British. Their children are born in Britain. They speak English. They marry into other European royal families. The German dynasty gradually transforms into a British institution. By the time Queen Victoria ascends the throne in 1837, most people think of the monarchy as thoroughly British. But Victoria's story will make the royal family even more German than before. Queen Victoria is one of the most influential monarchs in history. She rules for more than 60 years. An entire era is named after her. Yet, the most important decision of her personal life may be her marriage. In 1840, she marries Prince Albert. Albert is German. He comes from the small duchy of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Their marriage is extraordinarily successful. Victoria adores him. Albert becomes her closest advisor. Together, they have 9 children, and these children marry into royal houses across Europe. Suddenly, the descendants of Victoria and Albert began appearing everywhere. Germany, Russia, Spain, Romania, Norway, Greece, Denmark, the Netherlands. The family tree expands across an entire continent. This is why Queen Victoria becomes known as the Grandmother of Europe. And the title is not an exaggeration. By the early 20th century, many of Europe's monarchs are literally her grandchildren. At first glance, Europe before the First World War looks like a collection of competing nations. Britain, Germany, Russia, Austria-Hungary. But behind the flags and borders lies a surprising reality. Many of the rulers are cousins. Consider this: King George V of Britain, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, 3 of the most powerful men in Europe, all closely related. George V and Wilhelm II are first cousins. George V and Nicholas II are cousins. In photographs, George and Nicholas look so similar that people sometimes struggle to tell them apart. Yet, despite these family ties, Europe moves closer and closer to war. It is one of history's great lessons. Family relationships do not necessarily prevent political conflict. When the First World War erupts in 1914, cousins find themselves leading nations against one another. The British king, the German emperor, the Russian Tsar, all members of the same extended family, all standing on opposite sides of history. By 1917, Britain is fighting Germany. Anti-German sentiment is spreading. German cities are bombing British targets. German submarines are sinking British ships. And suddenly, the royal family's German heritage becomes politically dangerous. There is an awkward question. How can Britain fight Germany while being ruled by a dynasty called Saxe-Coburg and Gotha? The name sounds unmistakably German. King George V understands the problem immediately, and so he makes a dramatic decision. The royal family changes its name. Saxe-Coburg and Gotha disappears. In its place comes a new name, a distinctly English name, Windsor, named after Windsor Castle. The change is brilliant. Overnight, the monarchy appears more British than ever, yet the bloodlines have not changed. The family remains connected to centuries of German ancestry. Only the name is different. The House of Windsor is born. So, does the British royal family have German roots? The answer is unquestionably yes. The House of Hanover ruled Britain for more than a century. Queen Victoria married a German prince. The House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha directly preceded the House of Windsor. Many royal ancestors came from German states and principalities. But that is only part of the story, because royal identity is not determined solely by ancestry. Over generations, families change, cultures blend, languages evolve. The modern British royal family has lived in Britain for centuries. Its traditions are British. Its constitutional role is British. Its public identity is British. Yet, hidden beneath the surface remains a fascinating European heritage. A reminder that national identities are often more complicated than they appear. Perhaps the most surprising conclusion is this: the British monarchy is not unique. Almost every European royal house is connected to almost every other. The Danish royal family, the Norwegian royal family, the Swedish royal family, the Dutch royal family, the Belgian royal family, the Spanish royal family. Again and again, their family trees intersect. For centuries, royal marriages were political tools. Kings and queens sought alliances, stability, and influence. The result was an enormous network of cousins stretching across Europe. In many ways, Europe's royal houses resembled a single extended family living in different countries. Different flags, different languages, different cultures, but often remarkably similar ancestors. So, is the British royal family German? Not exactly. But does it have German roots? Absolutely. The story of Britain's monarchy is also a story about Hanover, about German princes crossing the North Sea, about Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, about cousins ruling rival empires, and about a continent whose royal families were far more connected than most people realize. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. History often ignores modern borders, families, cultures, and identities rarely fit neatly within national lines. The British monarchy may stand today as one of the most recognizable symbols of Britain, yet hidden within its history lies a reminder that Europe has always been interconnected, a reminder that behind the crowns, castles, and ceremonies, the royal families of Europe were never truly strangers. They were relatives.